All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott from Jeff Teaches Programming. In the last couple of videos, I've been in the middle of converting this JavaScript calculator application to a TypeScript app. And one thing I mentioned was I probably could go in and add a little bit, some more comments in than what I've added. I think what's at the top is fine. This all looks okay. All right, let's start here. All right. What we want to do with this render function is we want to synchronize the two visible display lines. So in other words, what we're typing in, we want to make sure that the answer is up to date at all times. All right. So we want to do that with the current calculator state. This should be called after every state mutation. So the UI is never stale. Now that may sound easy to understand or very difficult to understand, but the state of something you always want to keep up to date as much as possible. I mean, kind of think about it as our own state. All right. We want to keep everything up to date as possible. Let's say you're driving and you get pulled over by a cop. Well, you want to make sure that you have your license. Your license has your current information on it, including your current address and everything else. That kind of an idea. All right, we've got this here. We've got this add history element. Entry, I should say. This we want to append one completed calculation string to both the in-memory history array and the visible history unordered list, also known, of course, as a UL. Do it this way. In the DOM, the document object model, each rendered list item is clickable. Clicking an item restores that result as the new working value. So you're able to go back into where you've got your history and add things to it, whatever you want to say there. All right, so what do we have here? Kind of where we left off last time. So again, we want to be able to come in, click a history item to restore its current value or its result value, whatever you want to say. We're splitting here on the equal sign. All right, we come down here, we're going to seed the calculator. With the recalled value, the one we just put in there, and then clear any pending operation so the user starts fresh. And again, we're getting an error there because we have not yet written result state. We're going to do that in a minute. All right. Here we want to be able to auto scroll to the newest entry so that the latest result is always visible. All right. And I think this was the last one we did, right? Yep. So this highlight operator, this will visually indicate which operator button is currently active. All right, and this is a little confusing. Okay. What we're going to do in here, btn.dataset.action will hold the operation name. And what is that? For example, the word add. We will toggle the active class only on the button whose data action attribute matches the requested operator, and remove it from all others. I'm not sure why I've got this in here. This btn. I am going to comment. I guess I do need it. That should be a triple equal here. All right. Again, that's where we left off last time. So now we're going to write our reset state. So this function will return the calculator to a clean initial state, and optionally preload a seed value into the display. It is used by the AC or all clear button and by the history recall. If there is no seed, show 0 as the default display value. We talked about this before. string. I don't know how that got put in there. That's better. See, there's no left-hand operator. There's no operator. Here, the next key press will extend current, not replace it. Let's see. And this will remove any operator button highlight. All right, I'm going to move these. That's good the way it is. It's fine. Next, we've got our input digit. So this function will append a single numeric digit to the current display value, or begin a new number when the calculator is waiting for the right-hand operator after an operator has been pressed. All right, I'm going to finish this one. I'll check my time. Otherwise, whoops. That was good, Jeff. Otherwise, we want to replace the default 0 to avoid a leading 0. In other words, are you starting a new number or are you adding to an existing number. Okay. All right, I'm good here. So I think I've got time. I will also write the input decimal function here. So this function will insert a decimal point into the current number and ensure that there is at most one decimal point in any number. If the calculator is waiting for a new right-hand operand, begin that operand as 0, so the display always will always show a leading 0 before the decimal point. In other words, 0.25 versus just 0.25. All right, so function input decimal, start the new right-hand operand with a leading 0. What we want to do, though, is we only want to do that if the state dot wait for next. So I'm going to put all that in here. And then return. And we only want to insert a decimal point if the current number does not already contain one. So if it doesn't contain one, add it. That's it. All right. I am going to do one more. I might run a little longer than normal on this one, sorry. But these are all kind of related, so I want to do the input operator. Let's put a comment in here. So this function handles and operator button press. In other words, I'm going to do it here, plus, minus, multiply, or divide. If a previous operand and operator are already pending, evaluate the pending subexpression first, so the result can become the new left-hand operator. I should say operand. Then store the new operator and flag that the next digit press should begin the right-hand operand. So again, you're trying to figure out in here if the person has pressed one of our operator buttons, plus, minus, multiply, or divide. All right. First of all, we want to make sure they haven't already, they can't press it twice, but we want to make sure that we handle it so that we are going to do the expression correctly, for lack of better words. So parse the currently displayed value as the right-hand side of any already pending subexpression. So const value equal parse float state.current. If a left-hand operator, operand, and operator are already stored, and the user has typed one or more digits since, i.e., or in other words, wait for next is false, evaluate the pending expression before applying the new operator. The not state dot wait for next guard applied prevents the evaluation of back to back operators. All right, so for instance, you can't do it times. if it's got to be 2 ampersands. That's why I'm getting the error. Here you go. Again, we're getting an error because we haven't written the calculate yet. It's coming up. That over 1, I don't know. Better. All right, I think that's a good place to stop. Next, I'm going to do the evaluate, followed by the calculate. And then we got to format the results. So that'll be coming up in the next video. I'll see you then.